Hi, and welcome to Dramatic Knits. My name is Steve, also known as Dramatic Knits.
And I'm Callie, also known as Calsters.
And today is Sunday, June 18th, 2017. This is episode 284. If you're a returning viewer, thanks for coming back one more week. And if you're new, hopefully you enjoyed today's show, and you'll come back in the future. So, it's been 2 weeks. How have you all been? Are you getting acclimated to the summer weather? Well, if you're in the northern hemisphere. And if you're in the southern hemisphere, well, you're rolling right into fall, and you can break out all that knitwear, so it's not all that bad, right?
Too bad.
So, we've got 2 doggies up here with us. They may make an appearance. Corn Dog, you know, he's my affectionate tub of lard and is already passed out on the floor. But Ernest is trying to get up here, so he's wanting in Callie's lap. You want to come up here? Oh, there he is. Say hi. This is Ernest, our Yorkshire Terrier. And he's a nervous wreck, but he's got to be by your side at all times. Oh, Corn Dog's getting jealous. So we woke the dead. Anyway, get your paw out of my pocket. You're trying to... He's a pickpocket. You didn't know that. So anyway, let's roll into 2 weeks in review for ourselves. So it's been busy for me prepping for the Zombie Apocalypse retreat in Rochester, Minnesota, which I will be traveling up to here in just a couple of days. On Wednesday, I am leaving, and then Andy will be driving up on Friday to join me for the market on Saturday. And there's just been a lot going on. So last time we recorded, the following Tuesday was my sister's birthday. She turned 22. That's crazy because I'm 10 years older than her, so I'll be turning 32 in just a couple of months. And Andy's going to be turning 40 in like a couple of weeks. And I don't know what to do. Ideas? What do you do for somebody's 40th birthday? His family lives 4 hours away, so I can't really... I wanted to do kind of a surprise thing, but he'd hate me for it. He's that kind of person. Corn Dog's trying to get in the closet, and the door's kind of janky, so... As long as it doesn't fall down on Callie, we're good. So, I don't really know what to do, and my mom lives here in town, and my sister, and she wants to do something for him, but I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what to do. He doesn't want anything. So, we'll see. And then our 10-year anniversary is coming up when we're going to be at Stitches Midwest. That'll always be our anniversary, Stitches, which is great. We love that show. But I got to figure out what do you do for, what's the 10-year? I don't know.
Stroll through IKEA and look at new furniture.
Yeah, we did that last year and nothing really impressed me. But you know how, like, your anniversaries that each year has a certain...
significance.
It's not silver.
No,
So,
silver's 25.
Bridge dog. So yeah, my sister turned 22, and we went out to Mexican. That was her request, and her and my mom had a margarita. My mom doesn't drink anymore, and she's a chatty Cathy as it is, so like ramp that up by 10. Anyway, and then what else happened? Then that weekend, Andy's brother and sister-in-law and 2 kids came down here. They haven't been down here since we've owned the house. And so they came down and spent Thursday night with us, and then we all headed out Friday morning and went to St. Louis, which was a lot of fun. We went to the zoo on Friday, and it was warm and sunny, but it wasn't too bad. I expected it to actually be worse than it was, but it was just really crowded. So we finished that Friday afternoon. We checked into our hotel. We stayed at the Embassy Suites downtown, which was nice. They had free drinks and snacks and stuff, but everybody in the hotel is invited, so it got a little bit crazy in the beginning. Our room actually was all right. The ceilings were really tall, and the bedroom windows, it was almost like a suite almost. The bedroom windows were from floor to ceiling, but there was just something not... The cleanliness of it just wasn't on point. Like, it looked okay, but then when you looked closer... So, for the price you pay... Anyway, so then we walked to the arch, and everybody but me went up in the arch. I'd done it when I was in 8th grade. I don't like heights. That was good enough. So I got to watch the documentary film that played while they went up in the arch, which is interesting. I don't like heights so much that they had actually recorded the whole documentary while they were making the arch back in the 60s. And some of the shots that they were doing of the guys just out there, way up there, 400, 600 feet in the air as they were building it, I had to stop. I was looking at the ground at part of it because I was just like, nope, that's making me a little nauseous. So we did that, and then Saturday we got up, checked out of our hotel, and we went to the City Museum, which Andy and I had been to before. It was a lot of fun for the kids to go through. They had a lot of fun. I think the parents needed to get a little acclimated to they're going to go have fun, and there's so many kids that you can't be a
helicopter parent.
You can't. And yes, we'll just leave it at that. So once everyone loosened up, I think things were fine. Andy definitely felt his age after going down several of the slides. I didn't do most of the stuff. I just kind of followed along because I remember how bad I felt when I went the first time. So that was a lot of fun for them. Andy actually and our nephew went down the 10-story slide. I was going to, and then I saw it wasn't a fully enclosed slide and it was open, and I was like, 10 stories is a lot. I don't like heights. Whereas you can't see down, but it's open. That's a long way down. And it was a circle one, but Andy said it was a lot of fun, and they didn't know that I ditched them, so they were waiting at the end of the slide, and all these other people. Finally, one girl's like, "Yeah, that dude ditched you." So we did that, and then we drove home, and we were back, and it's amazing how close we are to St. Louis. And I mean, you go down there all the time, but we don't, and it was just over 2 hours for us to get back, so it wasn't too bad. So there was that, and went to knitting on Tuesday, which was a lot of fun. And then Thursday, we actually went to Bloomington. I was just telling Callie, and we test drove a Ford Transit. We are looking at possibly upgrading from the truck and trailer to a cargo van for the business, which will be my everyday vehicle. So I'm very particular about what I want, and I do like this one that we test drove. It is definitely does not have all the bells and whistles and luxuries of the truck, which is something that I have to be okay with, but it's going to make me being able to travel and transit our business a lot easier. So we're going to test drive a few other things and see where things go from there. Andy's in no rush, so he's going to be taking the truck and trailer to Rochester by himself, so I don't have to worry about that. But so that's just kind of what's been going on in my world. How about you?
Cool. It has been busy for me as well. So when we last recorded, that was Monday, and I had been on vacation from work. And Tuesday I went and saw David Sedaris and Ariel Levy speak at Anderson's Bookshop in Naperville, and that was really good. And I got there super early because I wanted to pick up my book. Because, again, I'd been to a David Sedaris signing before, and I was like, this is going to be crazy. And so I hadn't picked up at that time Ariel's book, but I was like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and pick up Ariel's book. And boy, am I glad I did, because David was like, if you purchased Ariel's book, then you get to jump the line. And since I was in the 70s, I knew that it was going to be a little bit of a wait. So I got to jump the line, and I was like third or fourth person in to get my book signed. So I was really excited about that. One of the things, he does a Q&A, and one of the questions that he was asked is, as an author, do you feel some type of responsibility for being on social media? Be that Twitter, be it Instagram, Facebook, etc. And so earlier in the Q&A, just to kind of set this story up, is he had another question, and that question was, something, I don't remember totally the question verbatim, but the answer was, Mr. Sedaris was like, well, it's kind of like my New Year's resolutions for the past 10 years. My resolution has been the same. It is to stop talking shit about people. But I, of course, abandoned that. And if you have read any of his work or have listened to him or anything like that, then you would know that's kind of where he makes his money, that's his bread and butter. And so, anywho, he went on to answer this about the social media, and he said, no, I don't feel obligated. He said, I feel as a person, we should be able to connect to one another on a much more real level. And he said, my fear is that, and what is already happening, is that people are going to just whip out their phones and like automatically, you know, record this and not respond to help. Like if it were like a friend of his was sitting in a cafe and a car who was, they were texting and driving, ran through the glass plates at the cafe, hit the woman, and no one rushed to her help. They all whipped out their phones and recorded the incident and things like that. And so Mr. Sedaris was kind of like, you know, social media is not my purpose in life. And then he said, and my purpose in life is, and then he just kind of waited for a few beats, and I, being the loudmouth that I am, shouted out, talk shit about people. And of course that made him laugh, and Ariel laugh, and everyone was laughing. And so that was really awesome. So when I went in for the signing line, because I had bought both of the books now, Mr. Sedaris always carries, if you don't know this, he carries a large bag with him whenever he does signings, and it's it's always full of like just random like giveaway kind of things. They don't have like no rhyme or reason. Excuse me. When he was in St. Louis, he had a whole book of like undersea creature stickers that he was putting in everybody's books as like a book plate type deal. And so when he got to me, he said, he asked me what I did, and I told him, and he said, do you know what you need? And I said, a state budget, because we still need one. And he said, and he used to live in Illinois, so he said, while that may also help, here's what I think could help you right now. And he gave me a sippy cup, and it's like one of those legit ones, like it's BPA friendly and all of that. And it's from a Greek diner, and it says, we're happy to serve you, or something like that. And he said, you could always put liquor in this and bring this to work. I feel like this might help you. And I said, I somehow don't think that I could get away with that, but I appreciate the thought. So that was really awesome. And my inscription in the book says, it's for Callie, who put words in my mouth, and then it jumps down, they were the right words. And he signed it and dated it. So that was really awesome. And
that's really neat.
Yeah, it was really cool. I mean, like, and I was so happy I got there early, because I grabbed a seat, and I got to, you know, I got to see the Q&A, like, in person, and not, like, from, like, 50 yards back. So it was really awesome. But then I got back to work, and I had more than one coworker tell me that I was not allowed to leave on vacation ever again. And I was like, what? Apparently there was a lot of things, not that involved me, but, like, there were a lot of bad shenanigans going on at the office, and they were like, we just feel like you are kind of everyone's spirit animal, so we kind of need you to be here all the time. It's kind of like, kind of hard when you still have 4.5 weeks of vacation to use. So, don't know what to say to that. This week was pretty busy. Our air conditioning went out at work, and my office got to be about 87, so that was super fun. And by super fun, I mean super hot. But like, I just kind of felt exhausted after this week, just because of the heat has been crazy in and out of our building, because our building doesn't like face like a grass or anything. It faces the cement, and there's another cement parking lot on the other side of our parking lot, so it's just all of that heat radiating off of the building, and so it's hard to keep it cool. But yeah, other than that, it's been good. Work's been busy. We're getting ready for the fair. Nothing new there. That's busy, but it is what it is. Looking forward to July 1.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, so.
All right. Well, let's move right along into our knitting. I have a finished object. I didn't think I was. Actually, I thought I was going to have a different one. But Last night I was like, nope, this is going to get done. It's not blocked. It needs a blocking just to kind of smooth it out, but it's not going to be blocked because it's massive, and it's taken me just under 6 months to knit this thing, and I did not think it would take that long. So I finished my fade, y'all. My Find Your Fade by Andrea Mowry. I say Andrea. People are debating whether it's Andrea. I don't know. I'm sorry. This took 7 different yarns, not full skeins of any of them by far. People say, oh, it takes almost a full... Well, it didn't for me. I don't know if my gauge is a little smaller. I added up all the yardage this morning. I did all the tallies in Ravelry, and it took me 1,250 yards, whereas her pattern page says 1,500 to 1,600 yards. So, I'm not sure. But I finished my fade, so let me make sure I'm showing you... Let me show you the right side. Not that it really matters, but when you're color melding, you can see. So this is where we started. Let me go through the list. So this is Madeline Tosh Merino Light in Tart. And then we faded into Nitty and Color Acoustic Sock in the Death Rides a Horse colorway. And then we faded into Hedgehog Fibers Sock in the Film Noir colorway. And then we faded into Lolo Did It's Awesome Sock in the, what is this? Zombies colorway. And then we faded into Happy Go Lucky HGL Sock in the Ice King colorway. Then we faded into Wandering Wolves Awesome Sock in the Knitting in the Nashville Night colorway. And then finally we went into Dreaming Color Jilly with Cashmere in the A Little Night Music. So this thing is massive. Massive. So if I were to throw it on, I showed Callie. Like, it actually isn't too bad. I thought it was going to be a little too massive to wear around the neck. I mean, you're definitely going to make a statement with it. I don't know if it's me. Actually, I have a recipient in mind. So this will be gifted here in the next couple of months. But super excited to be done with it and say I've knitted. You know, I wanted to be on the fade train. I rode the ride and got off on my stop. So, there's that. So, there's my fade. And that was knit on a size 4 US, which is a 3.5 millimeter needle. Alright, that's all that I finished.
I have nothing.
Well, it's not too bad in here. The air and the fan we have on. I don't need to wear this well. All right, so let's go into what's performing this episode. Sorry, I'm a little parched. I'm not used to talking so much anymore. All right, so this first item was what I thought I was going to have done. But I have learned in the past that when you seam on a mission, it's going to look like crap. While I'm not the best seamer, and yet it seemed... no pun intended. It seems that almost all men's sweater patterns are knit in pieces and seamed together, which I've found a few that aren't, but I know that it gives it structure and whatnot. I'm working on the Rogers-esque cardigan jacket by Mary Townsend using Barocco Weekend DK in color number 2144, which is squash, on a size 3 and 5 US 3.25 and 3.75 millimeter needles. So, going to slightly resemble a sweater because I do a little bit of seaming every morning and I put it down. Because I'm not going to sit there, and by a little bit I mean like 45 minutes to an hour to do a section. So here it is. Ooh. So I did the shoulder seams the first day. They're not perfect. That was done with, they suggested a back stitch. And then the next morning I put in one sleeve and again back stitched it. I didn't think that was too bad. I thought those seams looked pretty nice. For just being back stitched, I thought they looked pretty good. And then yesterday I did seamed the first sleeve, which is a little bit harder because of the increases to mattress stitch, so it's not great. But they're a little long on me, but they're fine for what I like. I actually love the way the seam, the shoulder seam hits me. I never have a perfect shoulder seam because I tend to wear things oversized, whereas this is supposed to be a very fitted sweater. That's the drawback, though. The shoulder seams look great, but if I wear this sweater, it's going to be open front and show my stomach. Because it's not going to, I don't think it's going to shed on me. Now, I never say never. I do need to still sew up the side seams. But I knew knitting these fronts that was not a whole lot to fit over my gut. That's half a gut. Not my gut. Your gut? Maybe. That's awesome. But not my gut. And especially when this band here is actually folded in half and seamed to be a double band. That's all I got. So I'm excited. I tried it on today just to kind of get the, the sleeves and feel accomplished. This is the band that has to be grafted next and then seamed down after I sew up the sides. So next time you see this, it should be done. But again, I'm not going to rush on it. I do a little bit and put it down, and that seems to work really well for me. I'm like, if I'm at 8 months on this sweater, I can take another extra week to do the seaming somewhat justice. Again, I'm not a perfect seamer by any means. But that's that. All right, next up is my Starting Point Mystery Knit Along, which is no longer a mystery, by Joji Locatelli. She had some amazing photographed shots of the finished object that she had a friend do. They did this really artsy thing because she had inspiration from a piece of art. And I love the finished object. So it was not the way that I thought it would go together. I think a lot of people were surprised by that. I'm not there yet. I'm nowhere near that. I just started clue 4, and there's 5 clues, and you're supposed to do 2 of every clue, and I'm only the first half of it. So it's gonna be my new fate. I'm gonna be riding this out for about 6 months, but it sure is pretty. So I'm using all Leading Man Fiber Arts Show Stealer in a variety of colors, which I'll go over here in a second. Again, if you don't want to be surprised, it's all over social media, so you've probably seen it. She put it all over her own social media, so. But, spoiler. So again, I just started clue 4. So here's where I'm at right now. So the gray is London Fog. The green is Double Your Pleasure. The gold is Smoky Quartz. The black is Darkest Hour. And then I did a custom speckle for myself of all those 4 colors. Again, which may show up at a later date, I don't know. So right here at the gold is the start of clue 4. So I had to do these 2 stripes. This 1x1 twisted ribbing, while I don't mind twisted stitches, it does take a lot longer than just knitting. And now we're doing a double seed stitch texture. Or I'm not doing the lace. This is the no lace version. So.
I really love this. This might be one of my favorite color combos that you've done. You know what? And
it's outside my wheelhouse, and I was knitting on it at knit night, and it was a crowded knit night this Tuesday, and everybody and their mom was there. And, a lot of people were like, you know what? You pulled it out, and I was like, wow, and that green is bright. But then, I held it up to show somebody, and they were like, it really comes together, though. The green is bright, but I wanted somewhat of a pow, So, and while it's outside my wheelhouse, I still do think it says me. It has my name all over it. Just not what I would usually go for.
I mean, it is your yarn.
It is. No, it is. And to be honest with you, the green is not what's surprising for me. It's the gold in that color scheme I'm very much it's either a black color scheme or a brown color scheme. Belt, shoes, pants, it's got to go together. You don't mix the 2. And so gold is in the brown realm, whereas all the other colors are in the black realm for me. And so I'm breaking down my walls, my color walls. So there's that. Next up, I cast down a new pattern because I thought I was done with the sweater. I used my random number generator, and I picked some yarn out of my stash, which, if you're new to the show, I'm kind of OCD with my yarn stash, and if I buy yarn without a plan, I come home and find a plan for it so that it's not stash, it's a future project. And so it picked for me some Quince & Company Finch, which I have been hoarding for the past 3 years, 4 years now. 4 years, I think. that I've gone to the Knitting Pipeline Retreat. You get some Quince & Company in your bag. And I think I got this 2 or 3 years ago. It's in the slate colorway, and it's in lot 001, so it was the first lot they ever did of it. And I cast on the Gills Rock by Paula Emmons-Feasley of Knitting Pipeline. I thought it just worked out so well. I got it at the Pipeline Retreat and knitting her pattern. So it calls just for 2 skeins of Finch, which are 50-gram skeins. This slate is like black, very, very dark gray to a black. Almost has a bluish hue to it as well. And I just got into the patterning. So you do a stockinette section. So it's a small triangle shawlette. This was designed back in the time when shawlettes were all the rage, and now it's the bigger the better. So,
if it could be a schlanket.
Everybody wants a schlanket. But, you know, sometimes you need that one skein, because it's 2 50-gram skeins for this. You need that one skein palette cleanser. I need something that's not 5 or 7 skeins. Well, that's awesome, and that uses your stash. You need those little things in between. So, there's that. And then it goes into this kind of broken rib basket weave type texture, I think. So I'll be working on that. I'm not sure if I'm going to take everything to the retreat with me. To be honest with you, I probably won't do much of anything that has a pattern. Because I'll talk to you about what I have in rehearsal to also cast on at the retreat. And that uses a size 6 US 4mm needle, by the way. And then I'm working on my Father Time here while we're recording, but I haven't touched this since we last recorded. This is by me. It's using one of our Improv sock blanks, which is fingering weight, on a size 4 US, which is a 3.5mm. That's it. That's all that I think I am working on.
I put down my sock. So I am working on another project that was kind of languishing, and this is The Girl from the Grocery Store by Hohi Locatelli, and I'm using Cascade Heritage sock yarn, and I am just getting ready to start the lace portion of it. So I'm really excited about that. I'm using size 6 US needles, and I'm hoping to have this done by next time we record. I was kind of telling Steve a little bit after we recorded last time that just because of the way work has gone and me trying to really focus on fixing my health and working out more and just basically trying to get my life in order, that like knitting has kind of took a back seat in my life. But I find that I'm kind of at a place right now where like I think that I'm kind of on a good momentum to kind of bring it back in. Maybe not do it as much in terms of starting a whole bunch of new things, but definitely finishing a lot of projects that I've kind of put off to the side. So I think that'll be good, because I think when fall hits, if I can have some things cleaned off, then I will be more inclined to do some really good fall, winter knitting. So I'm excited about that.
Awesome sauce. I'm glad to see that it's coming back a little bit.
Yeah.
And like you said, you just needed to find your new groove, and you've made some life changes, which are awesome, and tons of people are noticing, which is great.
Thank you.
And you know that you're finding that rhythm, and now you can work the knitting back in.
Yeah.
So. All right, so let's move into what's in rehearsal. What are we going to be casting on? Well, Callie kind of just told you that she's going to be working on finishing some things. I'm going to be casting on, I think, a pair of socks for the retreat. I need something, even if I bring like the mystery knit along that has slight pattern and texture, I really need stockinette or garter to fully enjoy the retreat and be able to talk with people. And so I was like, well, if I cast on some socks, so we'll see. I did my random number generator, and actually the first number picked was some sock yarn. And it's some self-striping that I picked up from Show Me Yarn at the Fiber U in Missouri last summer. And it's on their boot heel base, which is an 80-20 superwash merino nylon, 400 yards, in the Bell Star colorway. It's kind of a neon rainbow. So I don't know. These might be for a woman in my life. I don't know. Amber. It's either Amber or you. I don't care.
Amber, I'll fight you for him.
Can I get a kiddie pool filled with yarn and have like a wrestling death match for a pair of socks? Oh, that'd be fun. No.
I mean, I don't want to say anything, Amber, but I've been working out.
She did. She made me feel her muscles. She's been drinking that milk and working out.
Oh my gosh.
Work out.
There. First of all, this is a little bit of a tangent, but I feel like people can appreciate this. So like, I go to this health and fitness center. So I mean, like, everybody is at a different point in their life with their health journey. I mean, like, there are some people that are better, like doing better than I am. There's people that are doing worse than I am, people at the same level as I am, different ages. And so that's really great. And they have this indoor track, okay? And it is above a very, how do I want to say this? I'm not going to say the name of it, but it's over a portion of the gym that is created specifically for athletes and for student athletes, bodybuilders, and that kind of thing. People that are really into CrossFit, like just kind of like hardcore gym enthusiast is what I would like to say. Okay, so this indoor track, again, different people, you know, different levels. So like, as you're walking this track, I mean, you get to see like two different life perspectives. Like, I'm up here, I'm trying to get my life in track. There's people below me, including the trainer that I have, who are going to town working on their buff cityness. But we have my friend Katie and I, who I work out with, who we have affectionately called them the Buff City Bros. And I have to say that there is something about starting my morning watching them work out, because it is, I don't want to say this in a negative light, because they are really good guys. I mean, like, they're nice individuals outside of their buff cityness. But, like, they just take themselves really seriously. And me and Katie are generally shooting the breeze while we're walking. And so it's just, like, it's kind of funny to have, like, these two different life, you know, perspectives. And it is, you know, the track's above this. So it's just kind of funny when you start to think about it. I also enjoy the man candy that we get to see because of this. So there is no shame in that. Don't care what you have to say about that.
So the other things that I'm going to cast on, I am teaching 2 Boomerang classes at ZK, and I will be teaching said class another 2 times this summer. And as part of that class, I should probably cast on with my students and show them how to set up and stuff. So I decided, with all of my fade leftovers, because there's some good chunks of yarn left, that I'm actually going to combine 2 colors and do 3 boomerangs in the future. I know, crazy. So, and what I'm going to do is probably start off with a little bit of the first part of the boomerang in whatever color has more yardage, and then I'm going to alternate every 2 rows, carrying the yarn up the side, and then finish off with, again, whatever has the more yardage. So, first off, I'm going to take the first 2 colors of my fade, the Madeline Tosh Tart, and the Nidian color Death Rides a Horse, and I'm going to alternate those. And then I'm going to take the Hedgehog Fibers Sock Film Noir and the Lolo Did It Awesome Sock and Zombies, and I'm going to do a speckled faded boomerang. Yeah.
This is one of my favorite colors, is this hedgehog.
I got to shop the wall again this week, and you'll see that in just a little bit. Callie saw it, so. Yes, our local yarn store, while she has some holes because she's missing things and needs to reorder, she carries all the colors Hedgehog does. Other than the custom colors. And then the last boomerang I'm going to do is the 8 Happy Go Lucky Yarns Ice King and the Dreamin' Color Jilly with cashmere and a little night music. So I had a lot of this last one left over, and I just loved the deep hues in it, but I didn't know what to do with it. So I'm like, why not do some boomerangs out of that? Because as I said, I love doing boomerangs, but I was trying to do one every month for the new colorway of the month in the shop. And that's a big investment to try to get through every month, on top of everything else. So, kind of been on the quick worsted weight hat bandwagon to get a sample knit up for pictures. So, that's coming. I'll be casting those on over the summer as I'm working through my classes. All right, behind the scenes, my spinning. What am I spinning? Well, I finished some spinning, which is actually up in the shop, leadingmenfiberarts.bigcartel.com. This was from Three Waters Farm. It is a 100% organic pullworth in the colorway Light in the Trees, and I got 330 yards of a 2-ply sport weight. I kind of really love this color. I love the way the colors played together and barber pulled. So, that is up in the shop, and I'm glad to be done with that. It's nice and springy. So then I used my random number generator, as I like to do. Live life by a random number generator, that's me. And it picked out another braid of Three Waters Farm, because I was in their club for the longest time, so I have quite a stash of it. And this is 100% BFL in the early blooming colorway. So again, I'm doing a 2-ply fractal spun on that, and I'm probably 2/3 through the way through the first 2 ounces. This is the second 2 ounces, which I will split into 3 and spin those. So there's that. That's my spinning. So let's move into In the Spotlight. What are we watching and reading? We are still watching American Gods. There is only, I think, 1 more episode left this weekend. And Kristen Chenoweth is in it. Love her. And I knew that she was going to be in the series, and she didn't show up till the last episode of the season. So, still a very interesting show. So, again, definitely check it out. It's on Starz. Watching Penny Dreadful on Netflix. It was a Showtime show. It had 3 seasons. It wrapped up last year. I have just started season 3. I finished season 2 yesterday and started season 3 in the first episode, so we'll see where things go. Everybody kind of went into disarray after season 2, so we'll see where the last season takes us. It's been a joyful ride. We started watching last night. It's back, The Great British Baking Show. And because Andy's like, oh, it was on our DVR. And I said, but I thought they're not doing it anymore because there's big hubbub because it was bought out by a different
company
TV station, and there was a more hubbub about the co-hosts, if you want to call them hosts. They actually were like, nope, we're not coming back. We don't agree with the company. We don't agree with this, that, and the other, because they're also not going to be forwarding it on to PBS. But I had forgotten that when all this happened, I think they were in the midst of taping this season. Because, again, we don't get it here in the States until close to, I think, a year after it airs in Britain. So, we watched the first episode last night, and it was enjoyable. There's a lot of mistakes happening, so I'm like, well, we'll see. There's definitely a couple people who really stand out in the first episode. So, we watched that, and then went and got Dairy Queen. As you do. Movie watching. We sat down and watched The Accountant last weekend. That stars Ben Affleck. It also has, what's her name from the acapella girl?
Pitch Perfect.
Yeah. Who's that girl?
Anna
Kendrick.
Yep.
She doesn't really star in it. She's like in 4 scenes. And it was all right. It was better than I expected because there was not a whole lot of hubbub about it afterwards. I thought Ben Affleck actually did a pretty decent job of portraying somebody with autism. That's kind of a major thing in his character, on top of being an accountant and kind of a sniper type person. So, sounds weird. But what's interesting, though, too, is it actually takes place in Illinois, in Plainfield, which is right by where... Plainfield, Chicago suburbs, which is right by where I grew up. So, there's that. We enjoyed it. I maybe give it 3.5, 4 stars out of 5. And then books. So I finished reading a book that I had first heard about on the Two Knit Chicks. And as I said, I thought the premise sounded interesting. I started listening to it. And then they finished it on Two Knit Chicks and were like, don't read it. It's not good. And I was like, yeah, it's not that great. But I don't usually quit on things. So I finished reading or listening to No One Needs to Know by Kevin O'Brien. Basically, the issue with why this is not good is there is too much going on. It was like a 16-hour book, and there's a young girl whose husband dies in Afghanistan, and they have a kid, but she had an affair while he was gone, and there's kind of rigmarole with that, so she's trying to escape that, but then there's also this food truck lady in Seattle, or Portland, I can't remember, who people are out to kill her, and somehow these two start working together, and there's all these secrets, and it all revolves around like 6 hours into the book, even though it's in the premise of the like book jacket, that in 1970 there was a murder of this actress and her singer husband and their nanny, and their baby was kidnapped and they thought was killed, and it all kind of, they're making a movie about this murder, and like all these people are dying related to the movies, so it's kind of that too, and there's just too much going on. I think I gave it 2 stars.
Yeah, you gave it pretty low because it came up on my Goodreads feed.
Yeah, I did not rate it very high. Again, it could have been a good premise. There was just too much going on. So don't recommend that. Is what it is. So I started listening to something new. I actually, if you didn't know this, Audible allows you to put your account on hold. I didn't know this. And because I'm not traveling to and from work, I'm not listening to books as frequently as I am. I listen to them while I spin. So I had like 3 credits, and I was like, I need to put this on hold. So I put it on hold for 3 months, and then they ran a sale where you could get 2 for 1. They do this from time to time. So I got 6 books sitting in my queue, and so I'm listening to a new one. Again, I won't go into much detail. I don't know much. I just started it. But it's called The Hatching. Don't remember the guy's name, the author. But basically, it's dealing with a mass outbreak of spiders, I think. So, a little different for me. Like a world
pandemic.
Yeah.
Or is it epidemic or pandemic at that point?
I don't know. I was an English teacher, and you...
Anyways.
Oh. But, so it's interesting to kind of hear it set up. It's just, it's giving a lot of starts to stories. Whether they're going to keep going with them, I don't know. But it's kind of jumping around a lot. So, that's it for me.
I am reading 2 books at the same time. One is by Ashley.
One in each hand?
Yep, pretty much.
That might be an interesting experiment.
I mean, yeah. I'm reading Ashley Graham's memoir called A New Kind Model. I think that's the title of it. It's alright. Not stellar writing. I think there's good heart there and good message. The other one I'm reading is The Rules Do Not Apply by Ariel Levy. And I'm almost done with that book. I'm about 30 pages away. And it's really good. It is her memoir of her life thus far, and it is really sad. But, like, I had started reading it while I was waiting for the book signing to start, and I was like, oh, this is going to be really good. Sad Train Express. I'm like, if I would have known this is how, like, life is going for her, I would have hugged her at the event, because I was like, girlfriend, like, you have been through some stuff, but, like, it was sad. I mean, like, she kind of starts the book off that way, and I was like, oh, yeah, like, it's just gonna get better, right? No. It is a good book, though. And especially if you're a fan of her, she is a contributing author to the New Yorker. So, like, she is legit. And she's done a lot of pieces. Kind of one of her more well-known one is Thanksgiving in Mongolia, I think is what it's called. I could be wrong on the actual title of that, but it's Thanksgiving in Mongolia, something. But it is a very well written book. Difficult subject matter, but it is very good. So, and last night my friend Sam and I went to go see Baywatch. She's a Zac Efron fan, and I'm a Rock fan, so we both got treated.
Most people address him as the Rock.
Excuse me.
But she said a Rock fan, so I had a vision of her with all of her pet rocks around her in her bedroom and talking to them.
Because I have so many pet rocks.
Well, you just said I am a rock fan, so...
Well, I do like rock music. I do like V-rock, so, I mean...
But you don't like pet rocks.
I kind of have a thing against them, so...
I had a pet rock on my work desk that I inherited from a former teacher. And then threw it out after about a year.
But it took a year to...
It was pretty big, too. And it said subtle hint on it. I just thought if I ever needed to protect myself. Anyway.
Subtle hint. But after the movie, both Sam and I had our phones off, and so we turned them on, and we get like this notice that there's flash flooding. Yeah. Tip to the wise. I keep a wool blanket in my car, and I was never more proud of myself because I grabbed that and threw it, because it is in the trunk area, and I threw it back into the back seat and got into my car and wrapped myself around it because it was so hot that I had to have the air conditioning on to keep the windows from fogging up. And I was like, well, I'm glad that I'm not going to get pneumonia now because I have this nice warm wool blanket, because I was wearing short shorts. And
who wears short shorts? Callie wears short shorts.
I did.
So let's talk about our featured designer knit along that's going on right now.
Yes, it started June 1 and will go till August 31. You can knit any pattern from any of the featured designers that we have in the sticky thread. Those are individuals that have contributed patterns to us in the past for our Race to the Finished Object thread, or prizes in general. And we want to give back to them. So you can knit any pattern that you may have won from us in the past, purchased a pattern from them, or if they have a free pattern that you would like, that still counts as well. You can enter your finished object into the finished object thread. If you use any base of Leading Man Fiber Arts, you can enter it twice. So if you have any questions, feel free to earburn me or send me a message.
Yep, and feel free to double dip in wherever you can make it fit. Put it in the Race to the Finished Object as well. But any other podcast that allow you to do that, go right ahead. So let's move into stash enhancement. Because I was a little bit of a bad boy this past week. One, I put in an order like 6 weeks ago. So let's start off with that first. So, you know that we have a good friend named Amber. Mm-hmm. She's known as the Yarn Hoarder. She's kind of Instagram and YouTube famous. If you haven't heard of her, check out our podcast because it's amazing and she has an infectious laugh. And I've met so many people, especially at shows, who come up to the booth and were like, I've heard about you through Amber and we're very grateful for that. But so I've met probably somebody at every show we've done who goes, and why they're at these events, I don't know why, but they're maybe with friends or whatnot. But they're like, I don't even knit, but I watch her because I love her laugh and her storytelling. So, anyway.
She's good people.
She is good people. And I have the honor of traveling up to Minnesota with her on Wednesday. So it's going to be a fun day of car riding along and knitting and storytelling. So, anyway, Amber had a dog named Kevin who recently passed, unfortunately. And affectionately known as Kevin the Skank. And she goes into his whole story, which is kind of heartbreaking and then just heart-touching. And we had the pleasure of meeting Kevin. Kevin was a little skittish, especially around men. He did not like me very much, but I was determined to be his best friend. And so Amber reached out to a couple indie dyers and asked them to do a Kevin colorway. And one of the dyers was Freckled Whimsy, who had never had the pleasure of owning any of her yarn, or she does project bags as well. And she was doing a custom Kevin colorway and donating $5 per skein to the shelter where Kevin came from. And so I could not say no, especially when you see the colors. And so it was a pre-order, and it just came in this week. And it is, again, the Freckled Whimsy, her Serendipity base, which is a 4-ply fingering weight, 75-25, superwash merino nylon, 460 yards. Self-striping, H-stripe repeat in the Just Kevin colorway. So it's got the browns and tans and grays of Kevin, and then Amber had a whole wardrobe of fleeces for Kevin, and his favorite one was green. And so it's got this green stripe through it, which I love green. That's why Kevin was my spirit animal. And so I cannot wait. I really should cast these on. But the random number generator didn't pick it, and if it doesn't pick it, I can't live my life. But so I might need to just sit on this for a little bit and let it marinate in the stash. But I'm excited to have a skein of this. So thank you, Freckled Whimsy and Amber, for collaborating together and coming up with an awesome yarn and an awesome cause to donate to. So, and I think they were able to donate about $800 to the small shelter where Kevin came from. All right, at Knit Night this past week at our local yarn store, which is Les Moutons Rouge Knittery in Bloomington, Illinois. Again, I will tell you this every episode. Go and check out her shop. It is amazing. It is essentially, I would say, almost like 2 shops in one, the size of it. She has a whole wall, again, of Hedgehog, whole wall of Madeline Tosh, Streaming Color, Manostellar Gray. What's the other one that starts with an M? Malabrigo. Sweet Georgia. Mountain Colors. Leading Men Fiber Arts. That's just indie dyed on top of all the commercial yarn she has.
Yes.
So we were wrapping up Knit Night, and it was me and her and just another person, and we were talking, and I was like, somebody kept talking about the girl from the grocery store, and I'm like, oh, I need 2 colors to go together. And one color jumped out at me at the Hedgehog wall, and then I found a semi-solid to go with it. So I found these 2 in the Hedgehog sock. This one is in the color Juniper, and it's a beautiful speckle. It's got like a soft gray background with pops of purple and neon yellow and orange and a little bit of pink and blue. It's got like everything in it. And then I picked up a skein of Spell to go with it. And so this is going to be my girl from the grocery store, which I'm going to cast on relatively soon. So like I said, I like to have things from my local yarn store to knit on when I'm at midnight. And while I have a big stash of stuff from her shop, I can't seem to stop buying. So I'm like, if I knit this and get through this, then I can buy other stuff. And anyway, that purple does glow. It's kind of amazing. So check out her shop if you're in the central Illinois area, and applause to Hedgehog Fibers, who does amazing yarn as well. All right. Do you have any stash enhancement?
I don't.
Good for you. All right. We'll probably have more next episode because I'm going to the ZK Market, and there's some new dyers that I want to try out. So I kind of want to get my hands on some Suburban Stitcher yarn. Who else is going to be there? Barrett Wool Company is going to be there. Susan B. Anderson's yarn company. May need to get some of that. There's a couple other new ones too. Stunning String is going to be there, whereas I've seen their stuff before, but have not gotten any. Whimsy Stitches is a bag maker and is a fellow male crafter, so I may have to check out some of his bags. I don't know. It's going to be a good market this year. All right, so as we've been doing the past several episodes, we like to do a little giveaway every episode, because generous viewers like you, I feel like I'm on PBS, have donated to the podcast, and we got some more coming in the mail. Didn't tell you that. Our fairy yarn mother is way too generous to us. But if you ever feel so inclined to donate to the podcast, we'd love to help spread the yarny love. So this week we have 4 skeins of Knit Picks Simply Cotton Sport in the colorway Marshmallow. So, figure it might be a nice kids summer top or something to that effect. So this is 100% organic cotton, but not like your dishcloth cotton at all. It's 164 yards to 50 grams, so you're getting 200 grams of it. And it is machine washable. And so, yeah, 4 skeins. And to enter, you must be a member of our Ravelry group, Dramatic Knits Video Podcast Group on Ravelry. And I will open up a thread before this show goes live it'll say Knit Pick Simply Cotton Sport Giveaway. The prompt for this week, as I love to do my conversation starters, this week is, what is your favorite childhood memory? So since I figured, this kind of would fit a garment for a child, maybe, I thought that would work. So, and we tend to think we have a lot of good childhood memories from either holidays or like summertime, like when you're on summer vacation. So if you can remember, though I'm getting up there, so my memory's going, let me tell you, I can't remember much of anything anymore. But tell me, what's your favorite childhood memory? That's all I want to know. And 1 post per person, please, and we'll use a random number generator to pull for a winner next time we record in 2 weeks. All right. Boy, we're getting up there in time. But the iPad hasn't died, so that's good.
That's important.
We need to keep going then. So let's move into a round of applause. So last episode, our giveaway was for 4 skeins of Knit Picks Wonder Fluff in the Sweet Pea Heather colorway. 4 skeins of this. And the prompt was, what is the first thing that you think of in the morning? And we had a whole discussion about that. And there was a lot of repetition in what we think of in the morning, but there were also some interesting new ones that I don't personally think of, but it's interesting to hear what other people think of. And the random number generator picked number 14, who is Angie Ship, and that's Andrea or Andrea. Again, there's the debates out there, from Ontario, Canada. So congratulations, Andrea, whichever. I'm sure you'll let me know when you email me. And she said first thing she thinks of is, gotta go to the bathroom. Seems to be a popular one. So, Andrea, will you please email me Dramatic Knits on Ravelry and let me know your first and last name and complete mailing address with province and all that stuff so that I can ship out the yarn to you. So congratulations, and thanks so much for being part of the community. All right, we have our June 2017 Race to the Finished Object contest where you can enter anything you finish in the month of June. And we'll have 2 prizes. The first is from our prize pool of things out of this closet. And the second is from a pattern from our featured designer, who is Barbara Benson. And like I said, she's got a lot of wonderful designs. I actually saw that Gail's Art was helping out in Barbara's booth at TNNA this past weekend. So that was awesome that, Barbara's out there peddling her patterns and being amazing. And so definitely check out her patterns. We'll have her pattern page linked on our show notes at dramaticknits.com. Anything else you'd like to add before we go into center stage?
No, I don't.
All right. So, we're going to move into Leading Men Fiber Arts section called Center Stage. If you leave us now, I completely understand. Though I'd stick with us. We only got a couple more minutes, and I'm going to show you some pretties here in just a second. Got to clear off some stuff. So let me talk about the July colorway of the month. I know what it's going to be. Andy, in fact, may be dyeing up some down there now. I can tell you it is going to be Neon Speckle-tastic. A nice, fun summer colorway. But other than that, I don't have to show you. So hopefully, I think we record before July hits. If not, make sure you're following us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Ravelry, to be able to see that new colorway. So, that's that. We are busy prepping for the Zombie Apocalypse and filling our booth. We're not doing a specific colorway for ZK this year. It just got away from us, and that's fine. But we are going to be premiering new kits, and I posted one of the colorways on Instagram yesterday, and boy, did you all like it. So I'm showing another one. The kit is for a sweater. It's for a sport weight sweater, and it's called Ground Pepper. So let me show you what that looks like without my show notes going all over. this is what ground pepper looks like. So it's done with a speckled gradient, which we've been focusing on in our Razzle Dazzle sets, but we decided to do these kind of ombre speckled gradients. And I showed a pink one on Instagram. I've got a purple one done yesterday. We've also got a gradient and speckled one that Andy did, which Callie really loved. And then I also did the gray like you see in the picture. So it's 5 skeins of sport weight. I will tell you the pattern was originally designed for a 4-color shift. Ours has 5, so you'll have to do a little bit of finagling, but I don't think looking at the pattern and looking at the schematic, there's a very lovely schematic of when you switch colors. I think you can modify if needed. And you could do it out of 4 colors if you're not doing, I think, the largest size. But we needed to add the 5th skein in order to make sure that all sizes could be knit out of the kit. So if you look here, you've got the first color, which is a very light speckle. And then we increase the speckling here to the 3rd one. 4th. Okay. Ooh. And then 5th. So you can barely see. There's a shift in speckling. Oh my gosh.
You could have asked for help.
Voila! Please let this be the YouTube capture. So it does shift in speckling. Here's the darkest one. And I'll show you the lightest and darkest together so you can see the shift there. So I'm excited. We have a sample being knit up. It will not be ready for ZK, unfortunately. While our sample knitter is amazing, I did not put a deadline like that on her. So we'll be having kits of that. I plan on getting a green and a blue one done for ZK before we go. And then afterwards, we have talks. We're going to get some kits up in the shop, the online shop, but we're also talking about maybe in the month of August doing like 5 colors pre-orders for the kit. So, but if you're going to ZK, you get first dibs. And we may be taking custom orders as well at ZK. Okay. So, speaking of the Zombie Apocalypse, it's in Rochester, Minnesota. Next Saturday is the market, and it's a closed market to retreat attendees only from 10 to noon, and then it will be open to the public from 1 to 3. So if you're within driving distance of Rochester, I definitely say come check it out. It's at the Doubletree in Rochester, in downtown Rochester. So, and it is free to get into, I believe. After that, we've got a lot coming up here soon. We have a trunk show at Les Moutons Rouge Knittery that'll be set up Tuesday after I get back from ZK, literally like a day and a half later. I'll be turning around. I'm bringing all of our fingering weight yarn trunk show, and that'll run from Tuesday, June 27th through Saturday, July 1st. You can check us out there. I'm also doing a Boomerang class there on Wednesday night. Hence why we have our fingering weight yarn for our Boomerang. Unfortunately, that class is closed, but we are in talks of doing another class that's completely free. All that we asked was that you use yarn from the shop. So, all right. After that, on July 10th, I'm actually going to be driving up to Grays Lake, Illinois, to be a presenter at the Crocheters of the Lakes Crochet Guild, and I'm going to bring a very small amount of yarn and kind of set up before their meeting to let people peruse and buy. And then they asked me to present, and I said I would love to come up, but I don't think I have a presentation that I could give to the group. But I'm more than willing to do a Q&A with the guild members. So what questions they have about dyeing or setting up a business or the podcast, I'd be more than willing to answer questions. So that's July 10th from about 6 to 8 p.m. And then in mid-July, the next show will be Fiber U in Lebanon, Missouri. And that's Saturday, July 15th from 8 to 6, and Sunday, July 16th from 7:30 to 3:30. Those are some early hours. I do not believe that they actually hold us to those hours. They have classes there. I am teaching my Boomerang class there twice, and my rosters are not quite filled. In fact, one class only has 2 people. It's a $5 fee at that event to take my class. If you're interested, go to search Fiber and the letter U, and it'll on Google, and It's a website under the mopaca.org, and you can sign up for classes there. So if you're in the Missouri area, check that out. And then the last thing I want to talk about shows is future planning. We have a new show for next spring already, but I wanted to let people know because it's another one that we're traveling out to. And we are going to be doing Stitches United in Hartford, Connecticut next March. So that's another out there traveling, but since I'm going full time, that we're going to kind of branch out and see where things take us. So we're excited to go out kind of to the East Coast, East-ish area, and do that. So, yeah.
Nice.
So I know, as I mentioned previously, we're going to be at Stitches, Texas in September, and I know quite a few of you have reached out and are really excited that we're traveling that way. So if you're around that area, put it on your books. All right, let me show you all the stuff that has been updated to the shop. I've been a busy bee updating stuff, so I'm going to take a little bit of time with this, but I'll just start making another pile. All right, new mini game set that I updated yesterday. This is Showstopper, and the colorways are Drama Queen, Alien Attack, Green Gables, Smoky Quartz, and Gothic Queen. You get 92 yards each, total of 460 yards in the pack. And there was a sock blank up in the shop. It hasn't sold yet. It's not the most fun and engaging one, but I actually liked the name that came with it. So it's Shades of Brown, Be a Great Man sock, and the colorway name is called 5 O'Clock Shadow. So this is our improv sock bank. It's the same base as Showstopper, 75-25. You get 463 yards in the sock blank. It's single knit, so just keep that in mind. That's up in the shop. And another mini skein set in our Show Stealer base. So this is MCN, Merino Cashmere Nylon. We have Eternal Kiss, Copper Cloud, Orchard Slope, Saffron, and Tiny Dancer. Again, you get 86 yards each for a total of 430 yards in this base. And I think that's it on specialty items. So let's just show you the yarn now. So on Spotlight, we have Steve and Andy, Show Stealer, Nude Scene, goes with everything. Show Stealer, Raspberry Parfait. And all this is on Show Stealer so far. London Fog. And then there's Maud. Well, let's move on to Showstopper, 75-25. We've got Poison Apple, Moonlight, London Fog, Love You to Pieces, Envy, Radiant, Dames at Sea, and Minty Fresh. Updated just this morning on Showstopper Intermission. It's a half skein of Showstopper, great for cuffs, heels, and toes, or striping in for shawls, sweaters, things of that nature. We have Midnight Rendezvous. Again, check the online shop, much better photography. All right, on our Diva base, which is 80% superwash merino, 20% silk, we have a skein of Cherry Pie. On Showcase, we have a skein of Into the Woods. On Box Office, our worsted weight, we have Tequila Sunrise. And on Dramaturg, our DK weight, we have Country Road and Tranquil. So a little bit of a smattering of everything. So thank you so much for joining us this episode. We really appreciate it. We hope you enjoyed the show. And if you have not done so already, would you come on over to Ravelry and join our Ravelry group? And again, you can find the shop on Instagram as Leading Men Fiber Arts, Facebook, and Ravelry, all as Leading Men Fiber Arts. You can find the episode on our website, which is dramaticnuts.com, as well as iTunes and YouTube. Please feel free to subscribe, leave comments, ratings, and all that jazz. And until we see you again in 2 weeks,
we hope you
knit something dramatic.